The home economy women control unknowingly. The coffee had gone cold again, another morning, balancing the noise of the house and the quiet questions she kept avoiding. Can I really build something of my own? The thoughts sat heavy, wedged between breakfast dishes and unanswered emails, between who she was before and who she was becoming now. She wasn't chasing millions, just freedom. The kind that fits between nap times and school pickups. The kind that doesn't require permission or a corner office. Just enough space to remember that she was more than the sum of her daily tasks. But here's what nobody tells you about that moment, the one where you're standing in your kitchen. Kids finally asleep, wondering if you've lost yourself completely. You haven't, you've just been looking in the wrong direction, because while she was busy managing groceries and schedules and 1,000 invisible tasks, she'd been running an economy, a real one. She just didn't have a name for it yet. The average household makes over 300 purchasing decisions every single week. 300, and in most homes, women are driving 70 to 80% of those choices. Food, clothing, healthcare, education, technology, entertainment, even the big ones, cars, insurance, home improvements. She wasn't just buying things. She was allocating resources, forecasting needs, managing risk, optimizing budgets. She was doing what CEOs get paid six figures to do. She just wasn't getting the title or the paycheck. Part of her still felt guilty for wanting more, as if ambition had to disappear when motherhood began. As if wanting financial independence meant she wasn't grateful for what she already had. The guilt was quiet but constant, like background noise she'd learned to ignore. What would you have done in her place? But the idea didn't come from a business book, it came from the mess on her kitchen table. A friend had asked her where she'd found that organic snack her kids actually ate. Another wanted to know how she'd decorated the playroom on a budget. A neighbor needed help finding a reliable babysitter. Small questions, everyday problems. But each one represented something bigger, a gap between what people needed and what they could easily find. And she'd become an expert at filling those gaps, one careful decision at a time. She started documenting it, not as advice, just as observation. What worked, what didn't, the brands that delivered, the shortcuts that saved hours, the mistakes that cost more than money. At first, it felt silly, self-indulgent. Even who wants to hear about my life? But then the messages started coming. From women in different cities, different countries, different stages of life. All saying the same thing, I thought I was the only one struggling with this. Then came the doubt, the kind that whispers louder than failure. Maybe success just wasn't meant for someone like her. Someone without a business degree or startup capital or industry connections. Someone whose biggest achievement that week was getting everyone fed and to bed on time. She almost gave up until one message changed everything. It was from a single mom in another state, working 2 jobs, who'd used her recommendations to save $300 on back-to-school shopping. $300 she could put toward rent, toward breathing room, toward hope. That's when it shifted. This wasn't about building an empire. It was about building a bridge between the knowledge she'd earned through thousands of small decisions and the people who needed it most. According to recent economic research, women influence or control approximately 85% of consumer spending in the United States, roughly $12 trillion annually. 12 trillion. That's not a niche. That's not a side market. That's the economy. And the women making those decisions, they're not just spending, they're curating, researching, comparing, testing, protecting their families from waste and risk and regret. They're performing unpaid labor that keeps entire industries running. But what if that expertise had value beyond the home? What if the same skills that made her an exceptional household manager could make her an exceptional entrepreneur? She smiled, not because it was easy, but because it was finally hers. The opportunities were everywhere once she started looking. Not in some distant, complicated business model, but in the daily patterns she already knew by heart. The home economy wasn't something abstract, it was the fabric of everyday life. And she'd been weaving it for years. Some women were turning meal planning into subscription services. Others were teaching budgeting through online courses. Some created content around home organization, child development, sustainable living, financial literacy for families. Others became affiliates for products they already used and trusted. One woman she followed had built an entire business around secondhand children's clothing, buying, curating, reselling. Another helped families navigate special education systems. Another taught other moms how to start virtual assistance businesses from home. Sometimes growth doesn't look like progress, it looks like staying present, staying curious, staying willing to learn. The beauty wasn't in the complexity, it was in the authenticity. These weren't people pretending to have it all figured out. They were people sharing what they'd figured out so far. The difference mattered. Because trust isn't built on perfection. It's built on truth. She started small, a blog, then a social media account. She shared product reviews, budget hacks, time-saving strategies. Nothing revolutionary, just honest. The kind of information she wished she'd had 5 years earlier. The first month, she made $11. 11, barely enough for coffee. But it wasn't about the money yet. It was about the proof. Proof that her knowledge had value. Proof that her voice mattered. Proof that she could build something from nothing but attention and care. By month 3, she'd figured out affiliate marketing, partnering with brands she already recommended to family and friends. By month 6, she'd launched a small digital product, a meal planning template that saved other moms hours every week. By month 9, she was making enough to cover groceries. It wasn't retirement money, but it was permission money. Permission to invest in herself. Permission to dream a little bigger. Permission to stop apologizing for wanting more. Disclaimer: this content is for educational purposes only and does not replace consultation or assistance from a professional. Always consult a qualified professional for any questions related to finance, business, or investments. What she learned along the way surprised her. The biggest barrier wasn't skill or time or money. It was belief. The belief that her life experience counted as expertise. That her daily decisions counted as data. That her hard-won wisdom counted as worth. Because the market doesn't just need more experts, it needs more translators, people who can take complex information and make it human, make it accessible, make it feel possible for someone standing in their kitchen at midnight, wondering if they're brave enough to try. The home economy isn't just about what women buy, it's about what they know, what they've tested, what they've learned through trial and error and endless optimization. That knowledge is currency, and it's been undervalued for far too long. She started connecting with other women doing similar work, not competitors, collaborators. They shared strategies, celebrated wins, troubleshot problems together. The isolation she'd felt for years started dissolving. She wasn't alone in this. She'd never been alone in this. One of them told her something that stuck. We're not just building businesses. We're building proof that our work has always mattered, that we've always been enough. Her workspace was still her kitchen counter, but it no longer felt like chaos. It felt like possibility. The tools that helped weren't complicated. A good planner to manage time across multiple responsibilities. A decent microphone for creating content when the house was finally quiet. Simple design software to make things look professional without needing a design degree. A course that taught her the basics of email marketing and audience building. What helped me the most wasn't just having the right tools, it was realizing that I didn't need permission to start small. I tested a few different approaches before finding what truly worked, and honestly, it changed everything. This isn't a promotion, just something that made my path a little lighter. I'll leave some resources below if you want to explore them. But the real tools were internal. The willingness to be visible. The courage to charge for her time. The patience to grow slowly instead of giving up quickly. The grace to make mistakes without letting them define her. She learned that consistency beats perfection. That showing up imperfectly is still showing up. That her audience didn't need her to have all the answers. They needed her to ask the right questions and be honest about the journey. There were setbacks. Months where nothing seemed to work. Products that flopped. Content that landed flat. Moments when she questioned whether any of it was worth the effort, whether she should just accept that some dreams weren't meant for people like her. But then she'd get another message. Another thank you. Another story of someone who'd saved money, saved time, saved her sanity because of something she'd shared, and she'd remember why she started. Not for the income though, that mattered. Not for the recognition though, that felt good. But for the radical act of insisting that her knowledge, her experience, her life, had value beyond what she could give away for free. The home economy women control isn't just about purchasing power, it's about decision-making power, information power, the power to shape markets through collective choice, the power to build businesses around the problems they've already solved, the power to monetize expertise they didn't even realize they had. And the beautiful irony, the skills that make someone an exceptional household manager, organization, multitasking, resource allocation, negotiation, crisis management, long-term planning, those are the exact skills that make someone an exceptional entrepreneur. She wasn't starting from zero. None of them were. They were starting from years of unpaid training, from thousands of hours of research and optimization and problem solving, from a depth of lived experience that no business school could replicate. When she poured her coffee the next morning, it was still hot because this time, she wasn't rushing. She was building. One decision at a time. One honest post at a time. One small victory at a time. The journey didn't look like the entrepreneurship stories she'd seen in magazines. It was messier, slower, more human. But it was hers, and that made all the difference. Because at the end of the day, the home economy women control unknowingly isn't just about the money they spend, it's about the value they create, the connections they forge, the problems they solve, the lives they improve, starting with their own. She didn't need to become someone else to succeed. She just needed to recognize who she'd been all along, capable, knowledgeable, and more than enough. The economy had been running on her decisions for years. Now she was just getting paid for it. Tell us what part of her story resonated with you most, and where you're watching from. Your journey might just inspire the next one. Tell us which country or city you're watching from. See you in the next video. Bye.